What's going on, everyone? You already know what it is. Your boy Jamar, Data J, back in the building with another episode all about the data, baby. You already know what time it is. We got another special guest in the building for you. Isshai Kamara in the building. We got the co-host, and we got all the co-hosts on this show this time. Like we gotta like cherish these moments, because like it'd be like episodes where it don't be everybody. So like when everybody's on, it's a party. Like
they might as well.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel you. I do too.
It's like one big family.
Sometimes it just be me and Jafar thugging out. Sometimes it just, dang, I said thugging out. Rewind the cameras.
Bro, we be thugging it, bro. So,
right. It is what it is. Right.
It's going down in the DM. But all right. So
we're not cutting this out. We have a little moment.
All right, so we got Isshai Kamara in the building. Isshai is a IT professional with a broad range of experience. She began her career 11 years ago as a technologist and transitioned into project and engineering management roles. She has 7 years of experience in Agile delivery, including Scrum Master, Agile Coach, Delivery Lead at top Fortune 500 companies. Ooh, it's going down. She specializes in implementing Agile and Scrum for new and underperforming Scrum and Agile teams to reach full maturity. Isshai, welcome to the All About the Data show.
Thank you for having me, everyone. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Of course.
We're excited to have you here. So, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Anything you want us to know, anything we missed in the middle, go ahead. The floor is all yours.
Okay. All right. So I'm here because Jamar told me to get on Twitter. Okay. That's how this all happened. But I think one of the things you maybe have missed is just really my passion for helping people to really mentoring people to get into IT. And just kind of helping to smooth out the kinks. And I think one of the benefits I've had, in wearing different roles, having different roles and wearing different hats, is just being able to help people navigate in any kind of way, if it's maybe some support help or interview stuff or just general inquiry about maybe what I should do next, So I really enjoy doing that. I've literally been helping people do this, or get into their career sphere since I was in college. So I've been doing it for a while now. So I really enjoy it, and it really brings me a lot of joy to help people in this area. So I'm excited.
For sure, a little behind the scenes footage. Y'all don't know. I should definitely help me out too. When I first got into tech, we met on LinkedIn. So shout out to LinkedIn. See, that's why y'all need to be tuned into LinkedIn and be documenting your journey and stop playing. Yeah, I'm talking to you, listening to the show.
Okay, bro, don't start to be fighting
but that's what's up. Actually, we definitely glad to have you on. So go ahead and hop right into the show. Can you give us a brief overview of what is a technologist, and how you got into your journey?
Yeah. So I said that I was a technologist because it kind of basically encompassed a lot of different things I did. So I actually took the traditional route. I went and got my bachelor's in computer technology, and I specialized in network and computer security. I thought that I wanted to be a network security engineer until one day in my programming class, my teacher started talking about her daughter. And her daughter was 28 years old, and she was working as a project manager for a local government agency, and she was making way more than a network engineer. So I was like, I might have to switch gears here. So I asked her what exactly did her daughter do, and I basically followed her footsteps. So then, so what does that mean, that technologist aspect? More so just being able to do things, general IT things. So help desk, but a little bit in addition to, fixing computers and printers in the office, but also doing like some systems, networking administration, some web and database stuff. So I did a little bit of that in my first role out of college. And I actually had a moment with my former boss. He was just mentoring me to really like go into project management. And so that's kind of how I like began like peeking over to that as well.
Got you. Okay. So coming from like that technical background, you know, you got to like troubleshoot routers and all that good stuff. Like how was that experience?
Well, I didn't have to troubleshoot any routers, particularly. Yeah, but it was pretty cool. I did more so. It was pretty cool. I didn't really enjoy it per se, but it was cool. Like,
what did you not enjoy about it? Because I don't like it either.
So there was this one time I had this job at a nonprofit. And I basically had to, I forgot all the details, but I remember it was like a big networking project, and I kind of helped to like create a new infrastructure for them, and also like help to like label all of their assets and get everything together to create a better like network for them. And as I was doing that, I was realizing like, I don't want to go too deep into this. I just didn't enjoy it at all. I think, seeing that room, have you guys ever been in a room or a closet that has a ton of different cords like everywhere? It's just a nightmare. Like, have y'all seen it? Yeah, that was it. That was pretty much
it. Me and Jafar see it all the time when we have to go to the on site and do the training.
I was actually take your Jamar to work day last week, and he decided to come, so I bought him on site.
Yeah.
Nothing but a menace to the clients, but it was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like big terabyte stuff that we had to
terabytes.
Yeah. But so like, do you think like, coming from that like technical background, moving into like the non-technical side, do you feel like it was like a smooth transition, or did it feel like awkward at first?
Yeah, it was hard because I was spoiled. I had my own office. I had my own office for a long time, maybe like 3 years. And so when I decided to switch over to being like getting in a project support space, it was cool because like I did use some of my technical knowledge to help on some of the projects I was working on. So like we basically, I had like the task of like creating a configuration project, like a configuration script to make sure all of the servers were configured all the same. And that was cool to kind of have like that foreknowledge and just making sure like we could see like if everything was done successfully. So that was helpful, but I wasn't ready for like the social like side of things, because I had been so alone, or like when I'd have to fix somebody's issues, I'd like normally VPN into their machines, or like maybe go after hours or lunch. So I became a little socially awkward. And so I went from having like a big old office to myself to being in a room with like 8 different people, and it was way smaller than the office that I was in. And so I had to like learn how to like interact with my team members. And so I was a bit socially awkward, honestly. And I think project management it forced me to be less awkward. And it really challenged me to like speak up and like kind of like adjust in these type of settings.
That's how I feel at work too, because everybody be calling me and I'd be like, dude, put in a ticket and I'll remove on your computer. I do want to talk to you, go ahead. Because then they tell you about 10,000 other problems. Oh, my printer is not working, and my email had skipped and I didn't get this email. Oh, my shoes are untied. Can you help me tie them? And just all type of craziness. I'd be like, yeah. They be doing the most, man. That's how I feel it. So what made you like, oh shoot. So what like tools and processes do you use to like manage your personal life and your career life?
So I use Trello. I literally managed my whole trip to my move to Atlanta on Trello. Like Trello and Google Sheets.
Mm-hmm.
I calculate.
It's funny because the last person we had on here, she was like, "I hate Trello," and she was very not hating Trello. So
Yeah,
I hate Trello too. I use Trello at work now. It's like,
What's wrong with it? Right.
I just
they don't like the drag and drop because you have to like drag the cards over.
Isn't Jira the same thing though?
Yeah, it's a Kanban board.
And Asana.
It's a Kanban board. So you have the choice, but you have the choices in like Asana and other stuff to
Oh yeah, to switch, yeah.
And Trello is just like stuck like that. I like it. I used it for project management before.
I mean,
I feel like it's simple.
Right.
Enough.
It get the job done.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
Is
the cards.
Trello your favorite?
Cards, you be like, "Ooh, look at all those cards in this one section that's completed."
Yeah, that can be overwhelming.
So for personal, I like Trello. I literally have like 6 different boards on Trello, and I have like different like businesses I'm working on. So it's all there, like my personal move, like I mentioned. But professionally, I prefer to use Jira. So I became like an expert in using Jira. So it's really, really cool, and like to help manage, project artifacts. Yeah, but it's not easy to learn.
as a project manager, like what makes you choose Jira over like Asana or what else is out there? Monday.com and all that stuff.
It was never my choice. You just go to organization and this is what they have, right? Because they have the licensing. So, so I've never seen any like corporations that I work with use Monday.com. It's usually Jira. And I've used Asana before. And I didn't really like it personally. I didn't. Like, I didn't. I hated it.
Yeah, we all over here right here in our Asana right now, and Asana just
yeah, I wasn't a fan of it, but like one thing I do like about it is it sends you all these annoying emails to make sure that you get
every day. Yes, every day. One little click.
Yeah, so you're always on top of it.
Like, she hates my Asana.
But it's truly like Trello. Like I don't know how you don't like Trello and Asana.
Right.
I like Trello. I'm cool with the Trello. I'm cool. Yeah. Nobody uses Airtable, man. I love Airtable, son. Airtable.
I think Airtable is more close to like Excel. I don't think it's like I don't really look at it like a project manager. I mean, it does have a Kanban option in it, but
Kanban, Kanban, J.
Oh.
Let him live.
I was just testing you guys out to make sure you knew what the actual.
Oh, you pulling the shit now.
I had to test you guys out, so
just making sure.
Yeah.
So, like going back to like your many businesses, what inspired you to start IT Industry Tools?
Okay. So I'll tell you the story.
Listen in, story time.
Yeah, we like stories.
Go get my popcorn right quick.
So I always wanted to start IT Industry Tools, but I just didn't know it was going to be called that, right? But I literally have always had it in my mind, like I want to create something that can help people break into tech because I have a lot of student loan debt. Okay. And honestly, like studying computer science for undergrad, I failed a lot of classes. Okay. I failed a great deal of classes. I eventually, took them over and passed. But it was difficult. And I really had life happening to me too in undergrad. So I paid a heavy price for that. And so I realized over the years when I started working, like, there's a shortcut, like, especially when I began helping my younger cousin. She wanted to break into tech. And she was making like $40K and she went to like a really good school. And I was like, okay, let me just do this and that and tell you what to do here. And literally like 2 weeks later, she got a job making $80K. So,
man, tell her let me hold some.
and she's doing really well right now, but this is the common thread, like over the years when I've been working with people, like I've been able to help them get like really big jumps. And so last year when I moved to Atlanta, I had my LinkedIn only set to jobs in Atlanta. And I was actually contacted by this recruiter at this tech consulting firm about an opportunity. And he asked me to help fill this role. And so I just posted it on my Instagram. And I was just like, does anybody need a job making $125,000 remotely? And they were like, wait, what? Like, you can do that? Is it possible? And I'm like, yeah, it's possible. And so many people from that instance literally just send me DMs like, can you train me? Can you train me? Can you train me? And I was like, okay. So I created a training because I really love to teach. I created a training, and like that story in particular, when I was just talking about like, what is a Scrum Master and all of that, it went viral like on my stories. And then my cousin had reposted it as well. So I was like, okay, let me just create a training, because a lot of people, especially not really knowing the difference between what type of like sector to break into. Some people think Scrum and cybersecurity are the same. So oftentimes in my DM, I kept getting questions like, oh, is it the same as this? Or is it better than this? And I'm like, no, it's two different things. So I figured like clearly spelling it out and creating a seminar, like, it would be good for people to really have an understanding of what this role of a Scrum Master is. And so that's kind of how I created like my first class. And then at the end of that like seminar, I just left it open. I was like, hey, if y'all want me to train you, just let me know. And I had 2 students that persistently wrote me, and I created IT industry tools. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Have you ever thought about like putting it on like Udemy or stuff, or?
No, I haven't thought about putting it on Udemy. I don't know. I mean, I do know what I will do. I think I'm just going to keep it private for now. But no, not on Udemy. I think, no, I haven't thought about it.
Got too much value for Udemy.
Much value for the
Udemy.
But
I do got a question in reference to that though. So because I know Scrum Masters it's a role that's been out for a while, but it's not as popular as common. So like what made you be like brave enough to say, I'm gonna push out the Scrum Master? Like, because you got the project management, you got the network engineering background and all that good stuff. So what made you choose like Scrum?
So literally how everything with IT industry tools has been, it's just been like responding to the demand. So like I had met this guy here in Atlanta, and he told me he wants me to teach him Scrum. And so that's how I created like my first curriculum. And I wanted to make sure it was good. So I taught him, and he was literally my first student. So
shout out to him. He got it.
Yeah, right. He came out exactly being proactive.
VIP course. This one was made just for you, sir.
Right. So that's how it started. And then like I took that and created the class, and Jamara was a part of the class.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Jamar, that's how you got your Scrum cert?
Yeah.
That's fine.
God damn, Isshai, how you put my thought down and you ain't put me down?
I'm a certified Scrum Master, y'all. I'm a master at Scrum.
So we gotta talk after this. I'm trying to get my
right. Do you only do so go ahead.
No, I'm about to say we about to have a sprint retrospective right quick.
Eventually, I definitely want to expand what my goal is. Like with just giving, like I told Jamar, like I've been having conversations with him, like I just want to give back, right? Mm-hmm. I want to also be able to make an impact on our community as well. With people of color and having more women in these spaces. Usually, like throughout my career, I had a hard time, y'all. I did, I really did, and it's kind of hard to be in spaces where like you're the only of something. So like, creating something that kind of helps to break down the barriers of entry and really is like a clear roadmap, regardless if it's Scrum or not, because I definitely plan on expanding And I'm planning like on building courses based on all of the roles that I've held. And I've held a few roles.
Oh, we getting behind the scenes footage now. Okay.
Yeah. So just creating like, creating value add to whoever is interested in breaking in without having to spend as much money as I did in school and having to go back for like a secondary degree. You might have to get some certifications, but like just really making it easy for people to do it, because it's not too difficult, and too time consuming. You just have to change your mindset, regardless of which sector in tech you go into. Really change your mindset and become disciplined. If you're disciplined and you have a strong mindset and you just never give up, you're going to get to exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, you said something key in your response. So I want to ask, like, being a woman of color in tech, dealing with the difficulties that you had to deal with, like, how did you deal with it? Like, what kept you going? What kept you pushing? What made you not say, man, forget this? I mean, like,
it was hard. It was really hard. There were times like I wanted to quit. I wanted to leave tech maybe like my 4th year. I was like, it's just too much opposition. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe I don't belong here. Or like when I go into these rooms, like I'm in rooms with people that like, went to like super top schools and, just interesting things. And I noticed oftentimes, like when I was in these spaces, like they were trying to figure out how I got there, how I got in a room. I'm an HBCU grad. And like, it was just interesting. And then like, I knew I belonged there, but I always was kind of made like as if I didn't belong there. And, there's microaggressions in the workplace. And so honestly, for a good amount of time, I didn't speak up. I didn't talk. And I would honestly say I got courage after the whole George Floyd situation. It was a very like emotional time for all of us as a community. And, I was, again, the one of only, but like, I was literally like the only Black female, youngest person in leadership at that time. And I remember like my manager had asked a question like, if there's anybody on the call that maybe wants to say anything about the situation, you can, you'll be supported. I literally just hung up. And like, there were so many things that were happening to me, like in that instance where like, I was literally being like discriminated, like on the job and like just going through a lot, like it was really toxic. So I think one of the ways I got through it is number one, prayer. But also number two, just really finding some people that I can trust to help me just kind of get through it. And I think when I reached my breaking point, I really just confided in my manager. And I told him, I said, listen, like, honestly, like, I know you have a good heart and like, I know you're a good person and you really love us, like everybody on the project even. But I told him, I said, you're failing to see these things that I've reported to you in the past, as things that I've gone through. And I think when I started to actually speak up and document things, once I started, I didn't stop. After I had that talk with him, I kept going. So if there was ever something that happened, on the workplace, like I would bring it up. And then I like had like a diversity inclusion person that I was working with that I would just kind of like talk to. It wasn't necessarily like billing tickets, anytime, but just bringing it up in conversation. Like, hey, well, maybe we should have more sensitivity training for the staff, because I noticed some of the team members that are like, in certain geographical regions aren't that nice to people to look like, So we did talk about implementing that, and we did. And then also like it got to a point where on that particular project, like I was eventually the one of only. Everybody was kind of like rolling off. And I challenged the hiring process. So I actually sat in some of the interviews, and I started interviewing people, different Scrum Masters especially, and just making sure that we had a fair interview. and just being there. This is why like inclusion matters, but literally just being in that room made a difference. And, like if like people were literally like being interviewed fairly. And so sometimes you just have to be courageous and speak up. It does get a little uncomfortable, but if you kind of like have an ally on the job, it helps. And then just having somebody to talk to outside of work, but like, we push, as a community for more people of color and just to be more inclusive. But I think the workplace truly has to be ready to change that as well. And there's certain mindsets that they have to change, and they can't change unless they know where they're falling short.
Right.
Amen.
A long story.
That was an MLK
appreciate that
right there. We needed that.
It's true though. It's something to think about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Now I just want to circle back to your IT industry tools. Do you only help out Scrum Masters, or do you do other positions in tech as well?
I'm definitely going to expand. IT industry tools started like end of last year. Well, not end of last year, but like late Q3, early Q4. So I'm still working to expand. I definitely do want to also have more technical roles as well, and just creating a curriculum for my fellow techies, and just helping them to break in different areas. So I was recently talking to somebody about maybe adding a cybersecurity aspect to it. So we'll see. Yeah. But for now, like for the roles that I know for sure that I can teach and train on, or that I prefer to teach and train on, will be like more business focused roles. It's like, tech is business and like technology operations. So just really focusing more so on the business side, because like Jamar said, like it's not really popular like that. And some people don't know you can break into tech on the business side. So I want to continue to like push that for now. And then eventually
big fan. I like that too. So, I want to get into that a little bit. With you have being like a Scrum Master and a project manager, what would you say is the difference?
Okay. All right. Being a PM, I'm a trained PM, and like I just knew like being a project manager was for me until I became a project manager. I was like, maybe this is not, but I mean, I the very nature of me is a true PM. A PM is somebody who leads a particular project or an initiative. And so it's more of like a start to finish effort. So at the very beginning, for example, like if there's a networking project that you guys are working on at work, somebody has to plan all of that work. Somebody has to bring in the resources. Somebody has to manage the budget, the risks, constraints, all of that good stuff. And then also managing like stakeholder communications, just really making sure that the project as a whole is running smooth. And so a project manager has more authority because their goal is to make sure that they're delivering value as the client expected or mentioned in the very beginning. And so a Scrum Master is more so, I say a Scrum Master can be found within a project. And what they're doing, they're creating a product, like not they, but their team is creating a product, right? So when we're thinking about products, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have apps and web application projects that are constantly evolving, right? And so there's that product lifecycle, which is different from a project lifecycle. So a project eventually is going to end, but a product is going to continue until they decide to phase it out. And so a Scrum Master manages the workload of a team. They coach the teams. They make sure that they're helping to make sure that there's no issues as they're pushing out a release. So what I like to, this is literally like my favorite example, but like if you all go to your cell phones and go to like the App Store, I'm pretty sure you have some updates waiting for you, right? And so if you go into the section, there's actually a release note section. And it kind of shows you like what has been fixed in that particular release, right? So it might be some bugs some new advances. I think one app told me they just implemented like 2-factor authentication on the app. So they're just code changes, right? And so as a Scrum Master, you're managing that aspect of it to make sure that your team is pushing out work to be done within this release, because it has to be pushed out, right? So there's value add to the business that a Scrum Master provides, because they're able to number one, make sure that they're able to see if the code can be pushed out within a timely fashion, and really helping their team to make sure that they can hit that deadline. Because God forbid, imagine like Instagram, when they created their reel feature to rival not TikTok, if they would have waited, let's say this year, you know how much money Instagram would have lost? Mm-hmm. So there's there's a lot of value when it comes to the Scrum Master in that business setting, to be able to help the team to respond to change. And so they are not the authority figure. The teams are empowered to tell the product owner or, other team members exactly how they're going to get the work done, right? And so that person is just there to really help guide them and make sure that everything is smooth. And they're more so middle management, as opposed to like a project manager being like senior management, senior leadership. So in the perfect setting, a Scrum Master should have a project manager. Mm-hmm. And so I had a tweet that I posted, because right now in the market, what's happening is that there are people that are companies that are trying to transition into Agile project management. And basically, this is a way, it brings a lot of benefits, because it allows companies to be able to push out things faster. Like we were mentioning about Instagram, with the reels being pushed out so quickly, right? Mm-hmm. That feature. So a lot of companies are wanting to go more agile. And so, here's the 2-day training. And then all of a sudden somebody is a Scrum Master, right? Mm-hmm. But some of the companies aren't really adopting that agile mindset and those principles to be able to truly kind of respect that role of a Scrum Master. And so what's happening, there's a lot of duality there between a project manager and a Scrum Master. And so basically, just based on the explanation I just gave, right, we see that there's 2 different types of authority or leadership styles. So the Scrum Master is not in charge, but a project manager should be. And so now you're operating in a role that the developers might not really care for, because you're telling them what to do when they know they're the experts. Mm-hmm. They should be telling you what they can get done. Mm-hmm. And so that's the biggest difference. And that's kind of what's happening on the marketplace right now. There's some people that do take both roles. I had both roles, and I was working a ton of hours, doing both, and it could be a bit stressful. So it's better to do one or the other.
Do you think that in the future they may combine the roles? Like, for instance, we have a network cybersecurity engineer. So you have a Scrum project manager.
They're already doing that. There's agile project managers, and there should be agile project managers, but I don't think, in my personal opinion, that there should be a mix of the 2 roles. Because as a project manager, you shouldn't be so in the weeds with your Scrum team, because you have other aspects of the project to worry about. Mm-hmm. What if something is completely going wrong with a contract with one of your vendors? Who's going to attend to that if you're focusing on doing work for your Scrum team? You know what I mean? And some companies really need agile coaches to come in and help them with thinking about how they're going to lay out this whole approach for implementing agile.
So where would the agile coach come in? Because so you have the project manager, you have the Scrum Master.
Yeah.
Where does the agile coach fit into the mix?
Okay, so usually, so in those transformation projects, right, from waterfall to Scrum, or even SAFe, for example, which is a scaled version of Scrum. They come in usually in the beginning of a project or beginning of an effort. They should to come and assess where exactly is this current company. is there anybody that could take on the role of a project manager alone? Or is there anyone that could take on the role of a Scrum Master and have like the dedicated roles that make Agile or Scrum work, right? So they're the ones that coming in kind of like at a consultant level, and they're also training the organization to be able to adhere to the Agile values, because everybody has to have a new mindset, especially coming into something new. And so sometimes some people are like afraid of change because they think they might lose their job, or they like, it's just like maybe too many meetings or whatever the case is. There's a lot of fear in change. And so that Agile coach is supposed to come and help, to debunk those fears and to make sure that they are becoming more Agile. So I'll just give one example. So I was working on a project that did waterfall. And so I was a BA on that project, and we wrote all the requirements. And by the time it was time to implement those requirements, it was for a system that was very complex. And none of the developers were there with us when we were writing requirements. And this project failed big time. And I used to manage all of the application defects. So it had like over 300 defects. And we couldn't put out like code that has over 300 defects. And it was impacting like veterans at the time. And so they weren't getting like the payments needed, and it went all the way to Congress. And it was just really, really like bad, And so what happened was the company that I was working for eventually, the next company I worked for, they came in with a solution saying, okay, the way to solve this problem to make sure nobody goes back to Congress and everybody gets paid is by implementing Agile. And so from the very beginning, we had that coach come in and tell them like, let's be more open. So, and even if there were some times we failed or like things weren't going smoothly, we had to be transparent about it. And so the developers were also there when we were writing requirements, and everything went smooth. I'm talking, this is like the best project in the government sector that I was working in. Like, it was crazy. It was like night and day. So that is the benefit of having a good Agile coach in the beginning, and just really having like, not only like a good Agile coach, but like really having people that are really skilled in what they're doing to be able to manage those types of issues. Yeah.
Yeah. You explained that so perfectly though, because like you said, I was job hunting and I'll see like objectives, they'll mix together the project and Scrum. And it left me like so confused. So how you explain that, I'm pretty sure it helped me and our listeners too. So thank you for that.
We about to incorporate Scrum into our weekly meetings.
Right.
No, we really should though.
You see, you got Shanice all around up. Project manager.
What different realms of tech do you bring together to prepare someone to come into a role like that from your services?
Sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Sure. So what all, as far as coaching or your IT industry tools, what all do you include in your boot camp or your training sessions to make someone ready for a position like that?
Okay. So I basically pull from my experience, and then I also look at what the market needs, right? Mm-hmm. So in knowing what the market needs from my experience, I'm able to craft a curriculum that's going to answer the need to that particular market. So it's pretty intense, my training. So it's a little bit more advanced than like just traditional Scrum. And so what I do, because I've worked in like really high performing environments and really mission critical and in situations like that, where like, you just have to be really like efficient. I've created different tools like that they can use on the job. I've created a very similar work environment as well, like from all of the tools. Like I trained them on like 4 different tools that they will use on the job. And I even have like a dictionary that explains what this is and how this is going to work in the real world. So when you get on the job, like you're not like completely oblivious to it. And so there's a lot of coaching as well that I do to get them to really have an understanding of it. A better understanding of Scrum, and just doing Q&A. And the key, honestly, is not certifications. Even though I provide certs.
Oh, darn it.
Not certifications. It's that. It's really branding. It's branding and knowing how to, like I said, adjust, like be exactly what the market is looking for.
Right.
So I think my personal experience has been really pivotal in helping some of my students be able to land, these types of roles, and just really giving them a very realistic work environment in my boot camp.
Okay, so it's not just technical, then it's also like the life experiences that would come with that role then.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I got a Super Bowl commercial break question for you.
Okay.
So since this is all about the data podcast, right? Yeah. And we got a Scrum, project, Agile, business analyst, network engineer, cybersecurity, all that good stuff in the building.
Yes.
Where does data come in the Scrum Master role?
I work on a data project.
Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I don't know if I can talk about it, but I do have I do work with a Scrum team that does data decisioning. So it's pretty cool. It's, again, the one thing about Scrum, regardless of which industry you go into, whichever team you support, it's literally the same thing. It's no difference, but it's cool because actually one of my students is she was into data science, and she now works at a data science startup as a Scrum Master.
Oh, nice.
So she's not doing anything data related, but she's supporting a team that's building out data solutions. So I would say, Jamar, that is how we support, right? We're making sure that we're able to support the teams to be able to push out that solution at the end of it all. And that's really what the goal of a Scrum Master is at the end of the day. And just making sure, like, you're able to help your teams to be able to push that code. Remember, because it's mission critical, it's business critical. Because, like, if we don't push out this code, the business doesn't make any money.
Right.
So, we make sure that we help and coach our teams to do it. They got to stay motivated too. I've been in some situations where I've had some team members that were not motivated. And if they're not motivated, they can't get their work done. So as a Scrum Master, you're kind of like their what's the word? Counselor too.
Yeah.
So just encouraging them, motivating them to keep on pushing out the work. But it's cool. I really like it. I was excited to be on a data project. So it's really cool.
That's dope. So, do you think knowing data helps with that, or you don't even have to know? You could just come in with a Scrum Master and say, "I got this."
You can go into any Scrum role just knowing software development, right? So the key to Scrum is software development lifecycle.
Okay,
that's it. We're gonna develop some code, test it, and push it out. That's it. And that goes across the board, regardless of which industry it is. So that's the key.
All right, y'all hear enough. Quit playing around. Y'all better get in y'all Scrum game.
But it's a good way to be exposed to things in data. So if you don't want to be a Scrum Master for the rest of your life, you could be in a place where you can learn about other roles. So when you're in these meetings, maybe even the requirements meetings, you might want to become a product owner. So if you learn a bit about data, you can now create, some solutions or products just based on your ideas that you have. So you could always pivot. And so sometimes you just need to be in the environment to kind of see what you want to do. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, we could get off the commercial break now. Appreciate all y'all tuned in to commercial break. We are back live with the All About the Data show. We got Isshai Kamara in the building, special guest, project manager, Scrum Master. Well, you're not project manager no more, right? You just all the way Scrum.
Agile coach.
Oh, ooh, my bad. Get me together. Put me on point.
Yeah.
Agile coach in the building. Okay, then.
Back on a name, you know.
What's up? We're gonna put some respect on it. We got Agile coach in the building. So I got $1 million question for you. Now I gotta ask every like person that been in tech for this long is with the way the industry is right now. As a newcomer, would you recommend getting a degree at some point in their career, in the beginning of the career, or not even have to worry about it at all? Just get the certifications. What's your viewpoint?
I think COVID changed the game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, COVID changed everything. We needed to get those tracking devices or that tracking software on our cell phones to see if we've been exposed to COVID. Okay. Somebody had to get on that project and manage it. It doesn't take 4 years to figure out how you're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It doesn't take more than a month to figure out how you're really going to manage something like that. So I don't think degrees are necessary to break into tech. Now I have 2 degrees. Okay. I'm not saying
Stunt down.
no degrees. Okay. I'm not against it, but like from what I know now, I would not have put myself in all that student loan debt if I knew I could break in the way that I've been able to like help others break.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know? And so really the key to being like successful in your break-in is to find, regardless of which sector you're in tech, find out where the pain points are. Don't just do something because you want to do something, right? Find a valuable skill. And then eventually you'll enjoy liking it. You know, you'll enjoy it eventually, you know, if it aligns with the things that you like, right? So for me, like, I know I like a little bit of time, and I also like the salary that I can get, you know, working in Agile. So this works for my lifestyle and what I want. So I think it's important to kind of know like what it is that you want, like in terms of lifestyle outside of just being in tech. You know, do you want to have a job where like, you know, you're really working diligent to make changes and like being innovative, or like, do you kind of just want to like, you know, what does that look like and how does that fit into your everyday life? So I think that's really important to know. But degrees, I think if you want a degree, go ahead and get it. But the best way to get a degree is if your company's paying for it.
Ooh, spit them gems, Dan. We like all these. We gotta start charging now. Every episode, we like get realer.
Yeah, have your company pay for that degree, for the masters and the bachelors. Honestly, in all honesty, I think my degrees landed me 0 jobs. Like they don't even check. They don't even check. They didn't check. Like when I started my first job out of college, they did not check. The only times they do check is like if you're doing like a high right investigation and you put it on your resume, or like, you know, like a
public sector.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if you put that there, then they'll check for it. You know, that's the only time it really matters. But I have not gotten hired because I have a master's degree. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There are people that literally have certifications. One of my students, he makes as much as I do. And he has a degree in chemistry.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, that kind of like piggyback off my next question. So like it don't really matter. Like if you do have a degree, it don't matter. You don't got to go back and get a tech degree. Like let's say you got a degree in like healthcare, but you want to just switch over to project management or something.
Okay. So let me talk about the degrees. I think for me, my degrees have really helped me in how I do my everyday job. It's helped me to be a well-rounded IT professional. I'm able to understand things from not just a specific area, but just kind of a holistic approach. So I'm all for the degrees, but I'm just not for like getting into debt for it. You know what I mean? So I think degrees are they're just super valuable. Like if you want to be like really if you want to just kind of have like a holistic overview of the industry, it's super helpful. I honestly think like my programming classes helped me being a Scrum Master.
Yeah, big facts. Yeah, me and Jafar, we about to go back. Well, I'm already back, so he should be starting soon. And then, Jafar, we can't hear you, so I'll just put that as
He's still talking. We can't hear you, Jafar.
We can't hear you. So,
God dang, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. I have this little mute button and it don't tell me when I'm muted because some motorcycle.
You were muted at the right time. We were just talking about how you're going back to school.
This guy here. Anyway, I am not going back to school.
Yet.
Lying.
Yeah.
I got out of school when I was 19.
Yeah.
I am not going back. I'm a certification junkie. I get certified.
Yeah, you can get certified with a degree.
Network Plus and Security Plus. That's what I got.
I'm getting my associates right now, which is covered by financial aid. So I'm good right now. No debt this way yet.
Yes, I concur. As long as if you can go to school and not get into debt, by all means, if you got to do it, then do it. But you can definitely go on Udemy or grab a boot camp such as yourself, read the books and figure it out. Like when I was getting my Network Plus, I literally just had the book and I read the book. Took me like 5 days. I went and took the test and then I passed it. Like if you could just read the book and watch Professor Messer videos, then
listen, let me tell y'all this story, right? This guy, let me tell you how crazy this guy is, right? Let me tell you, there's another Super Bowl commercial break right quick. This guy, he had to renew his Security Plus, right? I'm talking about Jafar. Right, that guy right there with the tank top on.
I had to renew my network.
He had to renew. No. I remember. You had to renew your Security Plus, and you know what this guy did? He studied 8 hours a day reading his security book and everything like that, and went and go past the test. And I said, "Yeah, you're not from this planet."
8 hours a day? That's so
cool.
Hey, I would call him. He'd be like, "I'm studying right now, bro." 2 hours later, I'm still studying. 4 hours later, I'm like, damn, why you?
No, but that was for the Network Plus. I was recertifying my Network Plus with the Security Plus, and that's
but you didn't study the Network Plus. You studied the Security Plus.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I was.
You know how hard that Security Plus is?
That thing was hard as hell. I thought I failed.
It was.
Like terribly hard.
You gotta be like non-human to pass that test in 5
hours. What did you use to study for it?
I had a boot camp and a book. Yeah.
Sounds very cavemanish. Boot camp.
Yeah. And also Professor Messer. So yeah, I did that too. And just online exams as well. I think for certifications, you got to learn. The key to passing certifications is learning how to pass the exam. You got to really look and see how the exams are structured. Where is the pass? Where are the majority of the questions, like that, the questions that really make that pass or fail, impact? Where are they at? And really focus the majority of your time there. And then go to like the other percentages, like the 5%, because you want to make sure you get those, because that'll be like the determining factor as to whether or not you pass the certification. So I realized like the best way to kind of pass a certification is knowing how to study for that exam.
That's cool. I'm glad. Thank you for that tip. Cause me and my queen, we going for the AWS. So I'm gonna steal that tip right there. And I'm gonna apply it to the AWS. Get that cloud practitioner.
Every certification I get, I look at the all exam guide. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because I was studying for it and there were like 3 chapters in the Security Plus that weren't even on the test. It was just for know-how.
Right.
So if you don't look at what the questions are going to be, it'll be like 1.1, 2.5 and all that. There'll literally be like 4 chapters with like, this isn't going to be on the test, but we have it in the book.
Right.
Yeah.
And I literally just skipped past all those and just read the chapters that just had the stuff.
Yeah.
For the test.
Right.
So Aisha, real quick, I know you're in Georgia and you said you were in DC and New York. Which one do you think is, and I like Texas too for this, which one do you think is a good Black in tech hub? DC, Atlanta or New York or Texas?
Dallas
Or Miami.
or Austin, I think.
Okay, that's a good question. Atlanta is a Black city, right? But I mean, I honestly, in all the cities I've lived, major cities, Lord, I have not been like a part of a Black tech community per se. I went to HBCU in Maryland. So like my Black tech community was my classmates, and so I'm not sure, but like people in DC are doing really, really well. When I was in New York, I didn't really see that so much. I was looking for it, but I just didn't find it, so, and I was actually, when I was living in New York, I was working out of DC, working out of a DC job. And so when I moved to Atlanta, that's when I realized the jobs were here. It's like the floodgate of jobs opened up when I was in Atlanta. There's so many tech jobs. A lot of tech companies are moving out here, or there's just a lot of good jobs in Atlanta, and they pay really, really well. I think it's comparable to what I made more in Atlanta than I did in New York, or DC.
So I have to move to Atlanta. I'm trying to move anyway.
So it's cool, but one thing I like about Atlanta, there's just there's a lot of support in anything Black, like whatever you do, like you can find the support here, and people are like bigging you up. So again, I kind of haven't like been out to too many like events, but I definitely am interested in going out to some events for sure, and like kind of definitely making more of a community here.
Well,
so
there is a data science event coming up in Atlanta in September. I'm on the advisory. So, we all about the data definitely will be in the biddy for Shizzy.
Jeremiah, let me know when that is so I can fly out with you.
I'm driving.
We're not driving. Well, I'm not driving.
I'm all about the road trip. 8 hours on the road.
I'm not doing no 10-hour drive. 10 hours is not 8 hours.
We can make it 8.
Somebody drive with you.
Oh, wait. Just it's like 2 hours or 1 hour.
So Aisha, can you describe the Agile methodology in your own words? Like from start to finish.
Basically
10 seconds. No,
you said how?
Okay, not 10 seconds.
Yeah. It's just a way of doing work that encourages transparency. So making sure that everybody's able to see what everybody's working on, and just holding accountability there as well. And being able to inspect, which is like just looking at what has been done, seeing if it's exactly like what the client requested, and just adapting, making changes when needed. One of the things also that I read about this project from BlackBerry. They didn't adapt to becoming more agile, and so they were still kind of waterfallish. So meaning like everything is done in sequential order, and so what agile is done in iterations. So like smaller cycle times, so you can see value. And
like the sprints, right? Is that the sprint?
Yes, exactly. And so they actually like had a project that failed like big time, because by the time they released, like their competitors were way advanced, way ahead. And so having that like time to actually like make the change is really critical, because you technically have wasted all this money like adhering to this initial plan. But with Agile, it allows you to be able to be flexible and to make changes when needed. So if we're working on that data solution, we can make changes, when needed, so that's basically what it is. It's just another cool project management methodology. It allows you to save money and identify risks sooner. Yeah.
So can you compare being a contractor versus full-time? Like, how do you like being a contractor versus full-time?
I love being a contractor.
What do you know about it?
I love being a contractor because contracting has made me fearless. Have y'all thought about it?
Oh yeah,
I am a contractor.
Yeah.
I'm a contractor. We're all.
I think that's the best way to break into tech is getting into a contract role. That's how I was able to like make a transition from being techie to being in project management spaces. So like it's short term sometimes they're long term, but it's just the quickest way to make a career jump or move.
Right.
Yeah, because they're just looking for somebody to remember, like a project has a specific time when something has to get done. They just need somebody to come in and do the work. And as a contractor, if you have what exactly they're looking for, like you can come in and do the work. So kind of like coming into something full time, let's say you're kind of transitioning, you know, you might get paid less. You know, you'll get paid less because you don't have like that previous experience, maybe doing something else. And so you kind of have to work your way up. So with contracting, you can jump like every 6 months or every year, like you can jump, and you not only can you jump like in terms of like your expertise. I learned so much in contracting. I think I was able to have all of those roles because I was a contractor, and I was able to see a big increase in my pay. So when I was like, I left my government job to be a contractor. So I knew it was going to take me like a while to get to 6 figures. So I was just like, let me just try contracting. And eventually like it put me in that situation after like 2 years where I could have like got into a 6-figure role. So that's what I like about it. But the only thing is that some contracts, they don't have like benefits. But, you know, it's one of those things you kind of have to like see which contracting firm does have benefits and if the contract is worth it. So if you know at the end of the day, you're trying to get to a certain level or a certain goal, and you might need some like prerequisite skills and experience, I'm all for contracting. And then I advise going to a full-time role because you would have gotten exactly what is needed in that full-time role, and they can match your pay or give you more going full-time.
Well, isn't it with the contracts, they supposedly pay you more so you can go get your own benefits? That's what that's what I've been told in these interviews, at least.
If you're corp to corp, there are different types of contracting. I've been a contractor, and most of the contracts I've been on were like W-2. So I'd work I'd work for the contracting company, and they just move me around.
Robbery.
When a role comes up. Yeah.
W-2 with no benefits is a robbery.
I got benefits from those contracts though.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a robbery then.
Yeah. It just gives you really good exposure, and everything moves fast on a contract. And so like the only thing I don't like about contracts is that at any given time it can come to an end.
Yeah.
You can get cut, you know, and there's no security there. With kind of like having a full-time role, you have a little bit more security. But contracting, if the client decides today to pull the plug on this contract, it's a wrap.
Yeah. So how long would you recommend contracting before seeking a full-time?
It depends what your goal is. Right. So it's all up to you, you know, and I guess in contracting, one of the things that my friends and we used to say is like, we're not loyal to any contracts. There's no loyalty in contracting.
Yeah, bounty hunters.
I usually say I ain't loyal to these jobs, but you know my current position, I'm a little loyal because it's black owned for one, and AJ's my dog. You know, so shout out to Bike Check.
You got you singing a different tune.
You know, I gotta. You know, the environment just too friendly, like for me to not be loyal.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much, you know, so much.
That's good.
And that's what you want, though. That's what you look for. So
that's probably the first company in my 55 years of living on this planet that I ever said I'd be loved to. So
55 though, really?
He always do 55. So
You could have said something more realistic. We would have went with it probably.
I always say 55 or 55.
gotta stay true to
Don't
the
see
line.
gray hair.
Oh
No.
When I say there's no loyalty in contracting, is that again, like at any given time, your contract can end, or they could remove you, right? You are replaceable as a contractor. regardless of what happens. And so like, you just have to, if you're a contractor, you always have to make sure you're marketable, that, you know, you are ready to go if anything happens. And, you know, I think the loyalty for me lies more so in the relationships with the client. Because I was in a situation where like my client brought me onto another contract because like I really served her and I served the organization well. And I made sure that I was making sure she was good and going above and beyond for her. So she looked out for me, you know. I wasn't loyal to the company per se that I was working for, you know, as the contracting firm. So like, you know, if she has an opportunity for me, I'm going to go where the opportunity is, you know. I'm not going to stay somewhere where I'm not possibly getting like another promotion or anything like that, like any further advancements. Like when you're contracting, you really have to know what it is that you want and what your end goal is. And when you know that, you're solid and you can make your own decisions.
Solid.
Like that. Hey, your goal is to make the most money and their goal is to save and cut costs any way possible. So you do what you gotta do.
That's what's up. But this was a dope episode. Awesome discussion.
Sure. Did y'all learn anything?
Oh, I learned a lot
personally. Right.
I'm about to be an agile coach. We about to come our weekly meetings.
Listen, we about to go to your training right after this session.
What? Look, set up Calendly.
Going down.
Let me ask this question to Shanice. So Shanice, based on the conversation we had today, like, but knowing that you want to make this transition, like, are you considering contracting after like this discussion we just had here? Like as a way to
I wasn't before today, but yeah, you got me thinking that it would be easier for me to, it would be an easy way for me to get into project management that way. So yeah.
You know, it's crazy. Isshai, you're the second guest that we had that asked the host a question, and it was Shanice again. I think we really got to add that into the mix. Like, ask the host question for real.
Wasn't it a project management question too?
Yeah, it was. That was
calling on you,
dog. Shanice about to be big time project manager out here. It's going down in the DM. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I guess I would just leave with saying this. The best way to kind of find those projects or those contracts is by going on Indeed and searching by type or even LinkedIn, right? You can search by contract and you'll see a whole ton of them, right? Just, I saw something on a Facebook group the other day, like to apply for jobs that are urgently hiring. Those would get you the interviews quicker. Or like on LinkedIn, responsive employer.
Okay.
It'll get you in quicker. And so, you know, you can get started. You know, you can make your transition a lot sooner.
Motivation. I love it. Go Shanice. Go Shanice.
You're making it awkward now.
That's episode. Shanice.
That's good advice, though. Thanks for sharing your experience.
With it.
Try here dropping the jewels, the keyword.
Let's hop into the tech tie-in real quick, and then we could wrap this episode up. So we'll go ahead and have the project manager of the squad, Shanice, go ahead and shout out to
Can I get a drum roll, please? Drum roll. So our tech titan for today is Brodus Palmer. He's a trainee architect for Google Cloud, and he's a Forbes Council member as well, so big ups to him. He's also the founder of Level Up in Tech, which is a cloud career bootcamp that's dedicated to helping individuals transition and advance their career in cloud. So Brodus, we just wanted to shout you out and thank you for all that you're doing, and we really appreciate you.
Big shout out to Brodus.
Thanks, Brodus.
Brodus was the one that actually introduced me to cloud. Got me like all into the cloud movement. So big shout out for sure. But let's go ahead and wrap this episode up with Miss Isshai in the building, IT Industry Tools. Make sure y'all go follow on the Instagram, on the Twitter. My dog blowing up on the Twitter. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get my dog to 10K. But any last recommendations you got? Like, your outro you want to tell us, or tell the people, I should say.
You need to make sure that when you're upgrading your career or breaking into tech, you have the right people around you. You need to make sure that you have a good mentor. If you have a solid mentor, you should have no issues breaking in or upgrading your career. that is the key. Is really the key. Be inquisitive, ask questions, feel like network, like Jamar mentioned, and just be fearless. If you fail a certification, try again. If you aren't getting any hits for interviews, it's your resume. Hire a resume writer. Or if you're not doing well in your interviews, get somebody to coach you in that. And also make sure that you're really truly understanding the job description and what's being asked of you in that particular role. And once you know that, you're going to get in. So I hope that was helpful.
Very fast.
That was
Very
good.
Fast. We appreciate you once again. Shout out to everyone tuned into All About the Data podcast. Subscribe on the Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share with a friend, with a friend. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all join the Discord. We blowing up on the Discord. A lot of good things coming out for Q2 and Q3, mainly Q3, but definitely got some stuff coming for Q2. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Y'all already know how we end it. All about the data, baby. Peace. I gotta start saying it with me, man. I feel alone.
Okay. All three, everybody.
Count three.
We out though.
Countdown.